Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Attention baseball and softball players. The Nebraska Dominators are looking to add players to their baseball and softball teams for the 2026 season. Tryouts are happening now for all age groups, ranging from 7 years old to 14 and under for baseball and 7 years old to 18 and under for softball. Visit the Nebraska Dominators Facebook page for more information today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, happy hump day? Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Old School and New School Way. My main man is back in effect from his vacation. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Grades Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Old Cheney / Andre Matt, and 168th and Maple, with where Eric Strickland is on his way up to or close by in proximity, up there in the O or the Metro or whatever you'd like to call it. A lot going on. Obviously, a really good fast 2 hours on the block. Talk NBA talk a little college football, a little NFL, and then obviously a little bit of revisionist history on how things went down, and then also who was a really good team, who wasn't. or the great teams and who would win, who wouldn't. Obviously, Austin's on one side of the spectrum, as I'm on the other, like all things, because he's a Colts fan. But the one thing that's that we both feel that is very close to us is the change in college football, Austin. Obviously, we got a about a 15, 20-minute segment here. Then Kathy Martinez is coming in to talk about the AFN golf tournament. Then we'll put another bow on a great day here at Ticket, 1040 O Street, live in effect. But a lot of GMs with the changing of the guard, per se, is that or two things happened, right, today, or will happen August 1st, is that they're able to send potential contracts to athletes so they can kind of know where they stand, most likely come January. And then number two is the designation athletes have I wouldn't call it a secret portal, but a specialty portal for them if they choose to jump in there from July 7th, I think, to August 5th. And
Yes.
so what a designated player is somebody that's not normally wouldn't be a part of the 105, but the present team wants to keep them or could keep them. And they might be, on a collective scholarship or their own financial aid or a combination of both. It doesn't matter I don't know if it matters if they're on scholarship or not, but they're just not out there outside the 105 or designated outside the 105. They're designated technically as student athletes. And so they either can stay where they're at if there's a spot, or they can transfer to a team potentially that they can get on the 105 or be another student athlete at another university. So that is the option to kind of somewhat, I call it backdoor grandfather some players on rosters, or at least in the chance to play NCAA football this year.
I like that it's a one-time portal. I think, it's tough to tell these kids use it or lose it, maybe, because situations change year to year. But that's kind of what I think this whole house settlement is supposed to do, right? Bring some of that understandability back, I think, to college sports.
Yeah.
Where you can't have, or you don't want to have one set of rules for this group of student athletes and a different set of rules for this group of student athletes. And sure, there are always exceptions that will prove the rules to be fair. But think about, Jay, when the house settlement was first announced, we heard the number 105. How many student athletes, designated or not, that were on kind of that cut line jumped into the portal right away? And then it was, oh, well, I guess, we're getting grandfathered in. We can go back to the school. In some cases, it was no harm, no foul. Coaches understood, yeah, that was a business decision. That was going to be best for you. You weren't going to be on the roster here. More luck to you. But maybe for some coaches, they didn't want to let those kids back on the team. Oh, you were going to leave us. Your head was never with us. Sorry, we don't want you back. So I'm glad to see that there is an opportunity for these designated student athletes that see, yeah, okay, they did officially mark me, because they'll know if they're a designated student athlete, that list is due on July 6th. Because then the transfer portal opens on the 7th through the 5th, like you laid out. So I assume that these student athletes will have access to this list, or have to be told that, hey,
probably before, right?
Probably, at least on July 6th, I assume they have to be informed that, hey, you would have been on this list. You would have been cut. Maybe some will stick it out of their current school, but I'm sure plenty of them will attempt to use this one-time transfer portal window to try to find a new home that's better for them and someplace they feel maybe a little more wanted.
Yeah, and you could maybe get some guys that you might have missed out on other teams. And so it's all roster management. It's how you're able to expand your roster or keep your roster expanded at least for a year. But these kids got, it's a holiday weekend, July 4th coming up, obviously. They're going to have a good holiday weekend, as you wish everybody would, or whether you want to call it a holiday or just a celebration weekend, whatever you choose to look at it as. But you cannot lose sight of the fact that you got some big decisions to make. And even if you have the option to stay, and if you really want to play football, you have to weigh, I love it here. I'm comfortable here. I'm able to stay another year, set up to have a magical year here. Or do I want to be, I wouldn't even call it selfish, but more realistic, that I will get a legit chance to play at a Kansas or whatever, and then be a part of that 105, or at least be on scholarship. I mean, I think sometimes, it's a big boy decision is like, just say if you're on some sort of financial aid and a little bit of help with the collective, NIL, whatever you want to call it, and you get a full ride somewhere else. I mean, sometimes you have to do and, go and do something you necessarily might not want to do, but it's what you have to do. So for these young kids that are anywhere from, I guess, 18 to 20, 22 years old, 23 years old, depending on where they are in their tenure in college football, are going to have to make some big decisions, over the weekend, because I'm sure they're going to be notified or have already been notified, because you would like to give them, enough chance to get out there early and be the first.
Do right by them.
Do right by them, because they've obviously did right by you. I'm sure, every coach would like to keep every single player on his roster and have huge rosters. And I mean, obviously it works out better for them. And, I'm sure Matt Rule, is close with, I mean, he said it himself. There's a lot of guys that, he wish he could keep around, but he might not be able to. And those are hard. Those are probably the hardest I wouldn't say easy conversations are when a guy is a knucklehead, gets in trouble, kind of does it to himself. You just kind of trying to find a way to get him out of the door without, as painless as possible. I think these type of conversations can hurt.
We'll start with roster limits because that's where we're at, but then a bigger picture question after this discussion. Who do roster limits actually help the most? Who are roster limits intended to benefit? Is it intended to benefit student athletes? Is it intended to benefit coaches, athletic departments? Who do the roster limits benefit the most?
I think it depends on who or where you're at. I mean, I think some coaches like a bigger roster. So, it doesn't really benefit them. Then I think it could benefit some teams that are a little bit less talented, because you'll get the trickle down effect from, Alabama, Ohio State, Tennessee's and all them, that you'll be able to get some players that normally wouldn't look at your university based on the 105. And then like the athletic departments, I'm sure they like it at 105. It's probably cleaner, accounting wise, money wise, salary cap wise, and however you divide up the, $20.5 million. So I'd say they probably they like it a little bit better at 105. But I think I'm sure the coaches, especially for practice reasons, so you don't have to over practice your second and third team offense and defensive linemen by going scout team and then obviously getting offensive reps.
I know you guys looked at that article from Ross Dellinger with Yahoo Sports a little bit yesterday. There was a part in there that it really stood out to me in terms of the financials behind it, like you just brought up. Ross Dellinger writes, in fact, during a recent football team meeting, one SEC school illustrated the impending decrease in pay, showing players that their expected allocation this coming year, about $14 million, is roughly half of what the school spent on last year's team, $27 million. Again, that's just one example, right? And that's probably just, from the school, right? You've had to split out collectives from the school. Again, after you just reintegrated them like they were supposed to be, and then they were, we know all that background. I think that this really was a step to help administration, right? It gives them an opportunity to save some money, right? I mean, now, yes, it's coming out of their own pockets, right, in the athletic department, but it's fewer, student athletes. You spread the money around probably fewer ways. I think it is streamlining and straightforward, accounting now for a lot of these front offices. I think it, helps players that are on the roster because they'll get more attention, right? Fewer players with the same number of coaches means you got to get more attention.
Yeah.
I think it helps the players, hypothetically, they got cut, because if you're good enough to be a walk-on at a Power 4, you'd like to think you can be a borderline scholarship player at a lower level where maybe you're more fit. It's probably more opportunity for you. I think overall in the long run, it's going to end up helping a lot of different people. I just can't say going into this, student athletes were front of mind with roster limits.
Not at all. Not at all. Because I mean, just from a health standpoint, some guys are going to maybe, increase their workload by 1 or 2 times. So I don't think the student athletes has ever been in the forefront of any decision they've made, or else you wouldn't be in the situation you're in right now. So ultimately, I think the people that could benefit off is, like you said, administrators and people who do the salary cap and accounting. They have a little bit clearer picture, and they're not. And then also there's checks and balances too with NIL deals, and so those things that Deloitte is doing a lot of the work for you. So, it now just comes down to how you manage your $20.5 million, and when it goes up, to 22 or whatever, and you distribute it to, your sports teams, it's going to be interesting to see if you have a down year in a sport, does that change? Like the example you said, where the salary cap of 14 million is a little bit less than what they were getting before when it was open checkbook for NIL. I think also the biggest benefactor is probably the donors. You get to donate to the university
right off,
and then also you're kind of just at 20.5 million. You got to think, if you're, like Ohio State spent what, 30 last year just on the football, you're really going to be able to get some guys in at a little bit cheaper rate. Now, I still think that will be, collectives to, be that buffer there. But I think ultimately, you're getting a kind of mini version of, AAA version of NFL football.
Lane Kiffin, your boy Lane, brought that up a couple of years ago and said, if we're going to go to collective bargaining, let's just get it out of the way and go to the straight NFL model. But here's the next question then. Who is collective bargaining intended to help, and who will it actually help? Because right now, if you think about it, the players have a pretty sweet deal for the most part, right?
Yeah,
There's still not a lot of transfer restrictions, right? Maybe more coming with contracts depending on how they're worded. But I mean, in the NIL system, which is still around, yes, it's got to be cleared by Deloitte. I get that. But there's no cap on how much the $20.5 million any single player can make, from a school to get their services. This is a very open market system for the players. And some of the people in that article were saying, why would the players negotiate down all the leverage that they have right now?
Yeah, I mean, they had, before this, they had the sweetest deal out there. You just walk in the coach's office probably once a month. I need to get some more money. All right, or not the coach or whatever, you get paid. Now you got potential contracts. So you went from a super sweet deal to a sweet deal. Collective bargaining, unless they are going to provide benefits like after you get done playing, what's the point?
Right.
And as a school, I'm sure the lawyers will be able to protect them from previous, employees or previous players, previous years. But it seems like you'd be overexposing yourself as well. So I think the players, before they can, collective bargaining, they're going to have to get representation. I mean, there's, when you think about the NFL model, every team in the NFL makes money. There's only 32 of them. I don't know how many Power 4 schools there are, but it's way more than 32.
Like 70.
Right. So there's way more. That's double. And then some change. And there's not every school can meet that 20.5 million threshold. So that's why it's not the same apples to apples collective bargaining, because when you think about it, every team in the NFL has a shared salary cap. They all get in the same salary cap, and the money is there. And you get Ohio State that has 20.5 million. You got Nebraska gets 20.5 million, and then you'll get I shouldn't say Stanford, but to say like Kansas or somebody like that doesn't have that high of enough percentage football wise to compete.
Well, and let's take this even a step further. Greg Sankey has made some public comments saying that he thinks that when, collective bargaining and employment contracts come to college athletics, it's not going to stop at Power 4. It's going to trickle all the way down, not just to Group of 5, but also to Division 2 and Division 3. Is that going to work? Is that going to work the same? Is it going to be good for those schools? Is that going to be, them biting off more than they can chew? Is there a way that the NCAA, again, the big umbrella over this whole deal, will they be able to walk that fine line and create two different classes, quote unquote, of athletes, where maybe, football and men's basketball, the two highest revenue generating sports, are quote unquote employee athletes under this new system, or do you have to treat them all the same, right? Finding the line to walk, because now we know that they will get taken to court
and lose
repeatedly.
Yeah.
And lose if it's not legal. Will they be willing to take a step and try to thread that needle, or will they be a little gun shy and say, we're kind of done paying all these lawyers and court fees. We're just going to let it ride as it is right now until someone comes in and says, no, this absolutely has to change.
Yeah, I think they're going to, if I was them, I would take a little bit of a pause. I mean, we've been taking L's left and right. All the way down to the lower levels. I like it because it could, maybe keep, kids guaranteed to be at school for a year or two. And then you never know what can happen. So the transfer portal won't be, as rampant as guys having that as their crutch and negotiating ploy to jump in there. But ultimately, I think, when you have the corporate people pushing for collective bargaining, that just my spider senses go off.
That
for
part.
the players don't have any.
But why are commissioners pushing back against it then?
Because I think it would probably get in the way of the overall product. I think I think people don't realize is that there's a lot of things that have to go right for this to be sustainable.
Right. Some of it's an honor system.
Right.
A lot of it is.
An honor system. The product has to be good. The TV, the companies have to be willing to continue to pony up money. Somehow, some way, all the people in the school have got to find ways to continue to generate income or if donations to meet the $20.5 million. And then even the teams that aren't, getting a high percentage of that $20.5 million, they got to perform like they are. And then you got to keep them happy. And all while you got to, you got to increase the student athletes or athletes in sports that generally didn't have a full roster of scholarships. Now they do. To me, that would keep me up at night. Is this going to work? Because if it doesn't work, what do you do? Do you go back to pre-contract and just say you're on your own? Well, then I would think if I'm a player that had to be under contract based on these new rules, well, I didn't agree to it. You agreed to it. Everybody else agreed. So now I need money because now Austin came 4 years later after this thing blew up in everybody's face, and he's able to make 3 times as much money, and he hadn't even played it down yet. So I just think it's there's a lot of angst and anxiety, and I would just be wary because the players don't have representation. In some states is different than others. They don't even have like the place that you remember that game Sims?
Oh yeah.
They can't even build a building or a foundation on that for a union yet.
Right.
Like who's going to be the commissioner? Who's going to be like the board of trustees? Who's going to be your representation in every single school in that? And then you know what these schools don't like to do? They don't like to pay nobody.
No.
So where's that money going to come from? Is it going to come from the NCAA? I doubt it. Are you going to charge?
Well, the NCAA's got $20 million a year. It's got to pay already.
Well, then you got to think, okay, if the players from their NIL deals, percentage of their income or what they're getting paid automatically has to go to the union.
Not going to like that. I'm glad you bring that up too, because that same article from Yahoo Sports brought up DeMaurice Smith, NFLPA. That was a look. What does that look mean?
Well, what the look mean? I think he was the commissioner or the NFLPA commissioner when they were colluding not to play the players. You was the dude. You was there. You was just the
You're letting it happen.
Goodell was there and you was across the street. So how are you going to come down here?
He says about unionization and collective bargaining in college, pragmatically, it would be extremely difficult. There are such a large number of athletes playing a disparate number of sports, with some being revenue generating and some not. This is the dude who's the head of the collective bargaining unit, or was for a long time, for the NFL. The system that Lane Kiffin says he wants, saying, not so sure about it in college.
I agree with it. The coaches want it because they got more experience with it. So then it helps them do their job. And there is some benefits for it, but the only way it works, football, is if you condense it down to like 2 super leagues or 2 super conferences and you have 40 teams. That's only 8 more teams in the NFL. You can be in there. But then what are you going to do if you regulate and deregulate? Somebody regulates in there. Well, then they become of it. But then they get the benefit off. Okay, here's an example I'll give.
Well, I wonder too if how many of those schools that don't make the cut in the top 40 start playing by those rules, assuming that they do get promoted, that they're already ready to go.
That's what I was about to ask. Now, just say you don't play by the rules, or you do, assuming what's the worst thing you could do, because the first 3 words, you assume that you're going to be there. But let's say let's say this has been going on for 5 years. All these 40 schools have been paying in, or all the players have been paying in 5 years worth of union dues and all that stuff, right? Well, then here comes these dudes from like Iowa State, and you get in, and then something happens. So essentially, we paid for all you guys, and you're going to benefit off of it,
and not pay in
because maybe you pay in for a year, and say you have to go on a strike. So there is advantages to becoming a union. I think there's too many players, and I do agree with, DeMaurice Smith that it just can't happen. I like that there's contracts because it gives you some sort of connectivity on both sides. But if I'm a player, man, that is up there. If I'm a player and I had signed a 3-year deal in 2024 on the old NIL, ain't no way in the world I'm doing a contract.
You were honoring these terms. I'm not willing to renegotiate. You signed it.
Yeah, I'm friends.
I'm chilling.
I'm Poppy Foreman in. Grandfather.
Well, that was another line from this piece. There are many in college sports management, schools, and conference leaderships who fear that any negotiation with players to limit the existing transfer and compensation freedoms will end in one way.
No.
Strike.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to take. You try to end those players. You don't think college players would hold out for that?
No. You see,
not smart enough?
Listen,
not represented enough? Why wouldn't they strike?
These dudes are getting paid, right?
Well, so I'm saying if they try to take that away, they would strike.
No. These dudes would bend the knee. They have no representation. And these dudes, as soon as they get paid, they wear more jewelry than Liberace. Straight up.
You're not wrong.
So so right then, you just showing the dudes your weaknesses. You know what Liberace is?
Yes, I know who Liberace
he's a jewelry man.
Yes.
Yeah. My grandma used to talk about Liberace all the time. Rest in peace, man. Tootie Foreman, miss you. Yeah. So then now they know you ain't got no negotiating power. Who's your leader? Will you all fall in line? And
how do you handle the rogue ones?
How do you handle the rogue ones? And nobody's paid in to pay everybody to survive during that time. Maybe 10, 20 years down the road, and this thing is still going. But I'm trying to be grandfathered into my old deal. I like that deal. That deal makes me feel great. And it's
not my fault you signed me to this deal.
Yeah, but listen, it's important. Like Matt Rule said, it's important for me to recover. The only way I'm gonna sleep good at night is the deal that we had. We gotta
is that money
because I can't
hit that account.
Do you want me to have bags under my eyes and try to catch a punt in front of 90,000 people?
No, you do not.
No, okay then. So
pay me my money.
Nice conversation. I like your tie. Now I got to go get me some sleep. Like your boy AJ Ferrari, man. That little dude, I listened to him, man. He said he slept 12 hours. I ain't slept 12 hours until I slept good until Greg Williams came and Tom Donahoe. Straight up. I ain't slept since.
12 hours a
matter
week.
Matter of fact, Greg Williams, I'm suing you. I'm coming.
Too bad you couldn't go on strike from a Greg Williams defense.
But I'll tell you what.
Those Greg Williams defenses paid out nice, though.
I like Greg, and he could have probably convinced me just to take out some. If he would have said take out Peyton Manning, I said, no problem. You know what, Greg? I'll do that for free. I'll do this one for free. The next guy I got to take out, I want double payment. Anyways, double payment. We're up against the clock. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, old school, new school way. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Hey guys, you have heard about the Farrell's 10-week challenge for years on the ticket. If you still haven't joined us for this amazing challenge, what are you waiting for? You could be our next $1,000 winner like Derek, who just lost 30 pounds, 23 inches, and 8% body fat. Derek changed his life in the 10-week challenge, and so can you. Farrell's combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to get you the results you have been waiting for. Join us July 12th for the Summer 10-Week Challenge. Go to fxblincoln.com to enroll today.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Hauling has been a trusted and reliable hauling service in the community, and they have established themselves in the roll-off industry as well. Fast Mike's Hauling can help you with everything from demolition debris, estate cleanout, yard cleanups, and so much more. They also offer dumpster rentals and flatbeds to make those bigger jobs a little bit easier. Call Fast Mike's Hauling today at 402-450-6828 or visit them online at fastmikerolloffs.com.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hey, it's Jake Sorensen. Join us for Early Break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the brand new Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket. We'll showcase the brand new hotel and preview its grand opening. That's Early Break this Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. at the Residence Inn at 9th and R in the Haymarket. Citizen soldier and veterans of the Army National Guard, you are invited to celebrate the 3rd of July at the Roca Tavern for a free concert by Sean Cole and the Drunk Monkeys. It all starts at 8 p.m., and it's sponsored by the City Car Wash on 3rd and Main in Hickman.
Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
An award-winning softball season deserves a celebration. Don't miss your chance to congratulate Jordy Ball in person. Join the team at Midwest Bank for a special meet and greet on July 16th at their Jamie Lane location as they recognize her incredible achievements. Bring your friends, your team spirit, and your favorite gear for Jordy to sign, and it all kicks off at 4 p.m. They can't wait to see you there. Get all the details at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What's up? We are back. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, and like I said before, we have a special guest in. Always enjoy that she's coming in. She's battling now. I think I rubbed off on you on the injuries now. Well, we want to welcome back Kathy Martinez back in from AFN.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I apologize that you are going through having a knee replacement, but you're tougher than me because you're standing. I offered, chairs and stuff, and I know I've been there.
It's too hard to get back up, so
yeah.
I'm just going to stand.
Yeah, and anyways, we obviously AFN does a really good job, obviously providing services and education for autism not in and around Lincoln and the state of Nebraska, and for newly diagnosed parents and dealing with that. But a great thing is coming up September 7th on a Sunday. AFN's golf tournament, and it's for a foursome is $440. We will get another team or two. I know I will. We had a great time last year. Give us some more details about it, Kathy.
Sure. Action Plumbing and Heating is sponsoring our second annual golf scramble, and it is September 7th at Highlands, and 440 a team, and there's sponsorship opportunities available as well.
And then you can find that
You can find that in our newsletter tab on our website, autismfamilynetwork.org.
Yeah, and that's great. I'm telling you what, it's out at the Highlands, and that's a great place to have a scramble.
Yeah, it was our first year was really good.
Yeah,
we did well.
Really good. It was not only that, it was fun. We had
that's important.
Yeah, we had a blast out there. Obviously, I think we had one or two teams, but I think the Highlands is really good, just because it's spread out and you kind of keep things moving. So it's a great choice.
That's my neck of the woods, Jay. All this talk about South Lincoln this, East Lincoln that. Nah, Northwest Lincoln represent.
Yeah. Kathy, last year, how many teams did you have, about just guesstimation?
I think we might have had 28 teams.
So what's the goal this year?
We're going to blow it out of the water. We
Yeah.
want to fill it. I think we can have 36 or
36.
40 out there.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to go. So we're going to at least start out at 32. Then we're going to try to get above 40. So get everybody ready to go, because we're going to have our ticket listeners make sure that they participate September 7th. I think that's after, I'm not sure what home game. So if people have plenty of time, check-in is at 12, and then shotgun at 1. So correct. You have plenty of time on a Sunday to get up, go to church, check in, sober up, and then have some fun. Probably we'll party again. Yeah. We don't want anybody to get drunk. We'll just get right to the edge like we did last year.
You'll have a couple beers, take the hangover from the night before down.
Yeah, and hopefully after a victory. Kathy, with AFN constantly growing, constantly doing new stuff, besides the golf tournament on September 7th, which we got it up here on our social media, then we'll continue to tweet it out. We'll have you back anytime that you want. Just tell me whenever. We won't make you run in here. We'll make sure, we'll make sure Nick is here, and he'll have, if you're not up and moving, we'll make sure he has a wheelchair for you. What else does AFN have on the horizon?
We also have our first annual volleyball tournament out at Spike's Beach Bar on August 23rd. And there's lots of opportunities for teams. There's cash prizes and also sponsorship availability.
Is that for adults or of age?
Spike said we could have anyone over 16.
Cool. Yeah, because obviously volleyball is huge, obviously, in the city of Lincoln and the state of Nebraska. So we have a big volleyball community on all of our shows, so we'll make sure that we tell people about that. Besides that, on September 23rd, what's after that?
That is August 23rd.
Or August 23rd, excuse me.
Husker Heroes is coming up September 21st with the Husker Athletic Department at Memorial Stadium. And then we have some sensory swim nights planned with Lincoln Parks and Rec throughout the summer, and that can be found in our newsletter as well. We also continuously have our art social clubs, music club. Trying to think. We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know. You're pretty busy. I remember when we talked last year, right before the tournament, you were like, all right, how many days until you start thinking about next year's? And here we are next year. The one thing I will say before we get into some of the stuff, I want to really ask you about the amount of knowledge you've been able to spread and what you've seen, both here locally, is obviously education wise for people, but before that, I wanted to ask you, or I wanted to say, or, get your comment on the athletic department. I know they have really been a good partner in supporting you guys. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. That started, I want to say 12 years ago, when I approached Tom Osborne and asked if we could do something similar to what the Kansas City Chiefs were doing with kids with disabilities. And he said, yeah, let's bring everybody in. And so it's really taken off. We typically have about 1,500 people in attendance on that night. And they bring in all the freshman athletes and then any other athletes that would like to volunteer. And we set up stations around Memorial Stadium, and people with disabilities can go hang out with the athletes, get their autographs, throw a football around, do whatever. It's a really good time.
Yeah, I think the athletic department, obviously, since I've been there, has obviously expanded their life skills obviously in encouraging the players. But I think the players are taking upon themselves to get involved, and so that I wanted to make sure both AFN and Nebraska, get their proper props, because I think that's huge, and I think it's huge for AFN, but then obviously for the athletic department and athletes to be involved as well. One thing that I was talking to you about last year, seems like it's crazy, like just last year, is that I know you went down and presented and helped Lincoln Police Department about when they approach somebody that's maybe on the spectrum or has a disability. That's huge, because you see some of these stories sometimes where it doesn't end well. And it was really good for a Lincoln Police Department to try to educate themselves. And speaking of education, what are some of the things, even in the last year, you think that has helped and maybe has grown to help the masses to become more educated about AFN, but then also people on the spectrum?
Well, we do train the new recruits for
Right.
Lincoln Police Department twice a year, and then they make themselves present at a lot of our events. So it desensitizes our children to
Mhm.
the police, and they feel comfortable with them. They came out yesterday. We had the grand opening for the first inclusive playground for people with
Right.
disabilities yesterday,
I was just about to ask you about that.
and Lincoln Police Department was present and handing out stickers and things like that to all the kids. And I just think them having that physical presence at events with people with disabilities really helps create that bond.
Yeah, I think it's also good, not only you just educating them, and then obviously for the people with disabilities. I think it's both, though. I think they can learn from both. And you mentioned the playground. Talk about the process of that, because that takes a lot of will. That takes a lot of foreshadowing and energy to get something like that in Lincoln. And talk about the process of it, and then how yesterday was like obviously the cherry on top.
Sure. A mom came to us at Autism Family Network 4 years ago, and she indicated that she thought that Lincoln Playgrounds could use more playground equipment for kids with disabilities, specifically kids with like low tone or in a wheelchair, because her child had some low tone muscle issues. And there was only 2 wheelchair swings in the city, and one of those was broken. And so I approached my city councilman. This was in summer of 2021, and asked him if he could help us. And he said, sure. So he went with us to the Lincoln Parks Department where we made our presentation, and they were all about it. They were excited. They said that was something they'd wanted to do, and they wanted the right group of people to be at the table to help with the process. So it was perfect timing. And I asked him if we could get it done like in a timely manner, because as you know, I have cancer, and I
Right.
thought I want to see this culminate. And so it took 4 years. We had a planning committee come together for about 18 months. And they brought in people from all different special needs groups. So we had people representing deaf, we had people representing the blind community, we had people representing the wheelchair bound mobility community. And everybody got to put their 2 cents in. So, like, no stone was left unturned with this park. So, people that had adults in wheelchairs said, we need the bathrooms to accommodate for our adults with disabilities, that like a changing station for adults. And so we did modify the restrooms to make that. And so like the blind community said, we need textural notification on the sidewalks when there's going to be a transfer spot or where the sidewalk ends. So that's part of it. The autism community said, we want a fence because our kids are elopers and runners, and we want to make sure they're safe in a park and not escaping our line of sight. So this is the first fully enclosed playground in the city of Lincoln. And everything about the park is accessible to someone in a wheelchair. There's no stairs. We made sure of that. That was something we advocated very strongly for, because we wanted kids in wheelchairs and adults in wheelchairs to be able to have access to every component.
Right. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's like you said, from 2021, obviously 2025 takes a lot of planning, but then also takes a lot of thoughtfulness too, and then including everybody, not just being focused on
My
what
kid.
my
Yeah.
my kid. So that's great. And then obviously the city of Lincoln being able to support it as well. So that was a big deal yesterday. And it seems like every time that we talk, you're doing more and more and more. And obviously that's why AFN is doing so well. Once again, September 7th at Highlands. 440 or foursome. We encourage everybody to keep buying, where the goal this year is 40 plus, right?
Yep.
30, 36 more,
let's
or
go.
at least that. It's a good time, well run tournament. A lot of prizes, raffles, and then obviously you can sponsor, but then also you can still donate to autism. What's the website?
autismfamilynetwork.org.
Yeah, autismfamilynetwork.org. You can get on there, buy a team, donate, sponsor, and then obviously coming up, you have the volleyball August 23rd as well. So appreciate you stopping in, Kathy.
Thanks for
Next
having
time,
me.
next time you come in, which has been in a week or two, we know Dr. Duke is going to have you
All fixed up.
So we're going to take a quick break, come back. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Kathy Martinez stepping in for a quick segment. Old School, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. It'll be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 93. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot again with a high near 94. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Lights out? Let LES know where to go. Powerline matches your phone number to your service address so LES can respond to outages faster. Keep your information up to date at les.com/powerline.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman. Last quick segment here for Old School, couple minutes. Appreciate Kathy Martinez stopping in AFN, the second annual golf tournament, September 7th, out there at the Highlands. AutismFamilyNetwork.org. You can get on there, sponsor, get a foursome. We will have a ticket foursome as well, like we always do, and it's a good time. Pushing for 36 or more teams. So we got 28 last year, which is great for a tournament, first year tournament. I can tell you that because I've done plenty. The Foreman Foundation is stressful, and they put on a ton of events. They have a volleyball event out there at Spikes August 23rd as well. So they are moving and shaking. And then the bigger thing is that she told us off air, Austin, you got 30 family members for July 4th. Yeah.
Dang.
The trigger going to be smoking. So
it better be smoking. Better not blow out.
Yeah, better be, man. But we talked about in the first segment, Austin, the collective bargaining and all that stuff. I wanted to, jump into the NFL a little bit, right? Obviously, Pittsburgh Steelers had a huge trade, getting Jalen Ramsey, which I think now you got a true when you talk about 2019 LSU, Jamar Chase is that dude. He is in that league, right? And then you got to think Baltimore Ravens have DeAndre Hopkins, even though he's older, but they also have had other receivers do well. The young man from Minnesota, actually, Bateman got a second contract, first one ever for a first-round pick for Baltimore. They struck out on like 5 receivers. He's the one that showed some life. So you bring in a lockdown corner. You give up Minka Fitzpatrick from Alabama. But the big news out of Pittsburgh is that T.J. Watt, who's unquestionable, him and Cam Hayward are leaders of the team. He's in a lame duck year in the last year of contract. I would probably have voted for him as a defensive player of the year. Myles Garrett won it. He was upset, and it became. But I knew why he wanted it, because it helped him. Myles wanted it because it helped him get more money. TJ as well. And you're too close. It's one thing with, and I hate to say this, one thing I would say, it's one thing with Trey Hendrickson, but it's Cincinnati. So Cincinnati's going to Cincinnati.
Well, and Hendrickson's really only a pass rusher as opposed to Watt and Garrett.
Right. But it's Cincinnati because they always are going to be operating cheap. But it's TJ Watt. This is that dude. And this is the year that you need the best defensive player, or your best defensive player, happy, healthy, and hopeful in camp. And he's at home chilling, this close to training camp. This is not how normally Pittsburgh does money. And this is what I'm going to tell you this before you go. And I want, obviously, before you start talking. As a player of his stature, which I never got to, but when I was up for my second and third contract, you are aware whoever else is getting paid, and more importantly, how quickly they get it done. You trade for DK Metcalf, paid. You bring in Jalen Ramsey, potentially probably going to have to give him another year or two. Everybody knows that when you trade for him. He's not coming there for the same amount of money and no more years on his contract. Aaron Rodgers' deal was already done. The other guys as well, TJ Watt is not a happy camper.
Nor should he be. I mean, you were there before any of those guys. And the benefit to that should be you get paid first. They take care of your own, and that's that. But instead, they say, oh, you've been with us. We just assume we're going to have you back. We assume that you'll give us maybe not a hometown discount, but we got some goodwill, some equity stored up. And sorry, we have to dip into a little bit here, but we think you understand. I think for a team like Pittsburgh, Jay, kind of feels like they're going all in on this year, maybe next year, depending on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, with the DK Metcalf move, with getting rid of Minka Fitzpatrick, who was really good for them, to Jalen Ramsey. Very curious to see how Darius Slay holds up for them on the outside as well. This is a year for Pittsburgh where it feels like they really want to get over that 9-8 hump, get back to double-digit wins, maybe 11, 12 at the ceiling for them, and position themselves as a real contender in the AFC.
Yeah,
what doesn't help you be a contender in the AFC? Having a TJ Watt-sized hole on the left side of your freaking defense.
Which essentially makes everybody that you mentioned before
better.
Valuable.
Yes.
Because Jalen Ramsey and Slay, and don't forget Joey Porter Jr., who had a pretty good rookie year, are dependent on TJ Watt. Now, yes, Cam Hayward had a really good year last year at 35 years old, which is crazy. He's getting better. And I forget who Grant Wishner was listening. He's like the reverse of, he's like Benjamin Button or whatever, right? But it doesn't. TJ Watt sets the table, stirs the pot, and eats all the food. And he makes the other number 56 even good or better as well. So he's your season. It's like if you have a franchise quarterback and he's not under contract and he's not around, then your season is shot. Because
why did you let yourself get to this position?
Why? Right. Why would you? Because you're not Cincinnati with a lot of glaring holes. Like Cincinnati's defense was pathetically bad last year. Offensively, really good, obviously, but they weren't able to be sustainable for 16, 17 games. So the defense is such a, it's a huge drop off.
Mm-hmm.
This is a year you finally potentially have a quarterback. You got a number one receiver that's actually mature enough to be that. Only thing you just got to worry about DK Metcalf being actually too physical on the field. And you got Warren, your running back. You drafted pretty good in your offensive line. You got 2 really good tight ends. And you made it,
new OC.
New OC. You got Darius. You're doing everything that you normally don't do at Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh is draft, develop, play, or pay, and keep everybody, through a second contract. Now you got TJ Watt. Now you start to see him talk about, you're getting a little older. This dude was on Pittsburgh. It'll get done, but sometimes if it doesn't get done in enough time, TJ Watt will come in shape. But still, that's just in the back of your mind, and everybody knows this is how contracts go. And here's the funny thing: we got a couple minutes. So the funniest part was when I came to Houston, or I got traded. I got a little bump. That was my first kind of, contract negotiate. It was kind of just like, all right, we traded for it. We got to give you, we can't have you, we got to hook you up a little bit, right?
Thank you, Mr. McNair.
And they paid for my moving costs. So I was cool with the moving costs. But since you want to give a brother some more money, I'm cool with it, right? I got to get out of it. I got to get out of this Holiday Inn or whatever you got me in. But then, had a good year. And I'll never forget, I was, Blake that's on sometimes, and another guy, Mitch Franco, was the agent, and Rob Hendrickson. So we were all kind of powwowing, and we wwe were down like in Boca Raton. We went fishing and, golfing. So we were just kind of going over all the different teams. And so they come running in, from back there. It's like, oh, we got your first offer. And they were like, I already know how you're going to react in the notes that was with it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the way it goes. Do you want to read it? I want to read it. Man, I'm telling you, boy, they was just like, you were garbage. You ain't that good. We don't know if we want to pay you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, damn, I just saw Dom, and he was like, you were the most consistent. We need you back, right? But by the time I left there, they were just punching holes in me. But before I got, before they sent it, then eventually it worked itself out 2 times. But I was looking at, I can tell you, signed, sealed, and delivered. Best believe I was looking at the free agents that they were bringing in, who they were drafting,
Mm-hmm.
and it never left my mind. Now
your agent's probably talking to their agent. What are they saying?
It's just like you're just keeping tabs now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it didn't affect me on the field, but I'm just like, I remember a couple dudes they drafted, and I'm just like, I always wondered, like, you drafted this dude, you giving it, you taking out a salary cap, and drafting these dudes in the expansion draft, or the draft that if they get failed out of school or whatever, they don't even have it anymore. And I was looking at and I had to essentially turn around from IAH airport because I was on my way to Green Bay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally,
yeah.
that's what I know we got COVID. That's what happened. I called Reggie. I said, he's like, first of all, he called me. I didn't answer on purpose. So I was already there getting off
message delivered.
He's like, where you going? He's like, where you going? I was like, oh, I'm just going to the store. He's like, no, you ain't. Where you going? I said, I'm going to Green Bay. He's like, do you really want to go to Green Bay? I said, no, but I'm boiled if I have to. And he was like, all right, keep your phone on. And literally then, it was all kind of pre-planned,
But see, that's the difference between, I think, you and some of the divas in the NFL, is that as soon as they see that first slight, they go running, crying and screaming.
Yeah.
Whereas I think sometimes it's smarter to, okay,
it is what it is.
Sit back, take notes, and then at the right moment, like, I see how you've been doing things. Don't think you got to pass me.
Hey, man, if you're not Peyton Manning, and that even came to fruition late in his career, in which I think it was dumb, or you can't even say Tom Brady because he was drafted. So if you're not one of the iconic figures,
Mm-hmm.
they are paying you to replace you. They drafted you to cut you, which is the dumbest mentality, but that's how it works. You are just a piece of meat, and you're going through the meat grinder.
Mm.
Anyways, good 3 hours. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, Strickland on the block. Appreciate Kathy Martinez coming in. Great. Go back and check it out. It's actually pretty good. It's always a good day, but it's a great day today. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerman, old school, new school way. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
Lights out,